Phil Phails. Whoa, Phil Phails. Welcome to Phil Phails. My name is Phillip Jones, and today my guest is Linda O'Neill. She is the founder of Austin Tarot Therapy and a tarot reader.
Yes.
You want to wave to everybody? They're inside of that camera.
Oh, okay. Hello. Okay. Nice to see you.
Yeah. I'm really excited to spend this time with you. Today, I'm going to look at the camera again. Today, Phil Phails at Woo Woo Therapy, which, Linda, can I call you Linda?
Absolutely,
Is
please.
that what folks call you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's like this idea in the past of folks that did your type of job of being like Madam, whatever.
Sister Linda.
Yeah, different little things.
Yeah. I kind of stay away from that. I think that a lot of people are interested in tarot for a number of reasons. And I get a lot of scientists, educators, therapists into my trailer. And the reason why so many people are interested in tarot therapy or in tarot now is because our government has let us down, especially women. And sometimes a lot of people feel like their religion has let them down. But people still need faith. And so tarot cards are a wonderful way to kind of tap into your own intuition and finding your faith in yourself, because especially with women and their intuition, it's been corroded over time, and men too, right? You know, because of capitalism or because of the patriarchy.
So hold on. I was wondering about the old school where people put like different you're talking about why you don't have a mystical or some kind of weird stuff around your name. You just go by Linda.
I go by Linda, and like long story short of all of that is that as soon as you start to put rules, like if the spiritual world, mystical world, woo-woo world has all of these rules, like you have to do it this way, then you are just actually doing the very thing that you ran away from. You know?
Yeah.
So I believe when we go into this woo-woo world of energy, that your intuition can be enough, and that I don't have to call myself Sister Linda or Temperance Linda or whatever Linda.
Those were some of the names they would call Sister or Temperance.
Yeah.
Is it Madam or something?
Yeah. And so just call me Linda.
You're straight up Linda.
Straight up Linda.
All right. So, Linda, I'll ask you Phil Phails 5 questions about woo-woo therapy.
Okay.
And, you know, when I think of Phil Phails 5 questions, I think of failure and success a little differently. Like success is not a destination. It's not an award.
Right.
It's not, the end of a journey. And failure's not something that you hide, something that you're ashamed of, or something that you have to avoid at all cost. But success is more like a direction.
Process, right? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, something that's working, like to stumble upon, I've got inertia here and it feels good. There's passion. Also could be seen as flow.
Yeah.
Like flow state.
Absolutely.
And as soon as you get it, you might lose it. And then you're kind of looking for it again, much like a wayfinder or something like that. And on the left side, there's not failure. On that other side of the binary, there's actually like not doing.
Right.
So if you're doing, you're in some way looking for a direction of optimization or of, flow. And I call everything in between those failure or learning.
Right.
Or finding your way.
Yeah. Being adaptable.
Yeah. So I've often called what I'm doing here the fool's journey, which is
very, very, appropriate for tarot. The Fool's Journey is very big in tarot. It's the very first card in the major arcana. And so it's exciting. The Fool's Journey is very exciting, optimistic, a lot of fun. We can be naive, but that's the fun of it.
And the Fool is the character, right? That flows through the whole major arcana.
I like to call it the hero's journey, even.
Yeah, well, I love Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey. Yeah. I often quote those types of ideologies.
Yeah.
How we've got an experience outside of ourselves. This is one of them where there's characters. They They open us up to experience and influence that allows for a subconscious churning or...
Well, you should be a tarot reader because really when you look at the major arcana, the characters, that's exactly what we're talking about. You have the Fool, which is 0, and then you have the Magician, and then you have the High Priestess. The Magician is your conscious mind. The High Priestess is your subconscious mind. And then next comes the Emperor, the father, and then the Empress, the mother. And then we have the Hierophant, which is the teacher. So like it is all about this journey, whether it be the Fool's journey or the hero's journey.
Yeah. And also archetypes. It seems to be like a play of archetypes.
Yeah.
I love it. So let's start from the beginning. How would I fail at woo-woo therapy?
Well, not you in particular, but I think a lot of people, one, think that it's the devil's work.
Ooh.
Right? And so,
devil.
Yeah. And it is not the devil's work. It is, unless you are the devil. I mean, because this is intuition, this is storytelling. And in fact, I teach a workshop called Storyboarding the Cards because it's all about like the narrative, and what you kind of get out of that narrative. So there is no devil or God in tarot. There is intuition, right? There are vices, there are obstacles to look out for. But a lot of people think that it's demons' work to ask about the future. And the thing is that tarot really isn't about the future, right? The tarot is really about what's going on in your present moment and then asking your spirit guidance on how to make choices that bedevil you.
Yeah.
So
one way to fail at it would be to make it synonymous with some kind of
cult or religion,
evil or some kind of negative thing or something to be scared of.
Right. It's nothing to be afraid of.
It's divination tool.
Right.
For some folks.
Right. Yeah. So if somebody looks at tarot as if, we're tapping into the occult in some way, I mean, you can if you want, but that's like your thing, right? Yeah. There are no rules in tarot, in my opinion. That's not how I divine. That's not how I read tarot. I read tarot in the present moment and maybe fast future. Like, okay, at this moment, this is what this situation looks like if you make this choice. And so often when people come and see me, they're like, I knew it. They often come in to receive validation on their own intuition, which they don't trust anymore. And they're like, I knew it, but they had a hard time, kind of choosing between what they should do because their brain gets in the way of their intuition,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that comes up for me around tarot and the occult is the Thoth deck, Aleister Crowley.
I love that. Yeah, it's a great deck.
And he was, the founder of the Satanic Church. And so I'm not tying any of these together, but it's interesting.
Well, I mean, when you look, and I got into a debate with this guy. He runs a modern school. That's all I'll say about that. Everyone wonders where tarot came from. And the truth of the matter is it comes from everything and all things. You can date it back to, Italy with their deck. And I guess they pronounce it tarot or whatever. He believed that it came from, Kabbalah, Tree of Life.
Yeah.
Right? I believe that it goes even further back, because in Eastern cultures, they were divining, but they were divining through a regular deck of cards, which is how I learned cartomancy, where we're still using cards to find wisdom. So to say it comes from just a Tree of Life or just the Thoth deck, or from Italy, Italians, like it was a board game,
like the Marseille deck.
Yeah, the Marseille deck, or the Italian version of it, or even like cartomancy or the Eastern versions of it. I think it's all kind of bullshit.
There's a both and.
There is a yes. There's a yes and to all of it, and not a definitive answer. So to your point, if you're just using like that reference, sure. You know what I mean? It could totally be the occult, right? It's how you choose to use it. And so the way I see it is I like to take it off from, And I'm a Buddhist, so I like to use my Buddhist interpretation of how I see fit with the cards.
You're a Buddhist?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. I've been, just as a small aside, I fail at philosophy with a professor. His name's Grant Potts. And we've been going through the big questions of philosophy, a book, and it's a comparative look at these big questions with Western philosophy on one side and Buddhism on the other. And so I've been going deep into Nagarjuna and Mahayana and a lot of just like, it's been really mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Emptiness.
Yeah.
And non-self and, a lot of these philosophic discoveries and contemplations.
My mother was a Buddhist coming from, I was born in Vietnam, but she wasn't a very good Buddhist. And I pushed back on Buddhism because I didn't like this idea of suffering, in my 20s. I was more of a hedonist, And so because I didn't have good examples of Buddhism, wasn't really taught Buddhism from my mother, even though she, prayed to the Buddha incense and had all the statues and whatnot. Like I said, I turned away from it. I rediscovered it about, 10 years ago. And what really helped me with it was reading, Thich Nhat Hanh.
Thich Nhat Hanh. He's Vietnamese, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
I love Thich Nhat Hanh.
Yeah. And so one thing that he said really stuck with me and about Western Buddhism is that, Westerners take Buddhism so seriously. It's not that. What he's basically saying is that you don't need to cut off your roots of where you're from in order to become a Buddhist. You can incorporate your own Western roots, because to cut off your roots, to go to the mountains and to just, wear the orange cloth and to become more Asian in order to become a Buddhist is actually not the right way to become Buddhist because you're cutting off your roots. So he wrote in one of his, I forget which book, but it was the 14 Principles of Buddhism for Westerners,
Yeah?
Yeah, and it was really, really kind of cool, I did a podcast about it, but I only got to principle number 6 because my tarot thing was taken off. But I hate the title of the podcast, but it was called Your Beautiful Self.
Oh,
I hate it. It's so awful.
Oh, dude, dad puns abide over here.
Yeah,
Your beautiful self.
Your beautiful self.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I mean, Buddhism really has helped me more so with my mental health more so than NLP has, So
yeah, Buddhism is wonderful. I attended the Plum Blossom Sangha here in town for a long time.
Lovely, yeah.
The Thich Nhat Hanh group, and really love Thich Nhat Hanh. He's definitely a person that's meant a lot to me. I've read a number of his books.
Yeah, such a wonderful teacher.
Yeah. Question 2. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
That wasn't the question, though.
Okay.
That was the pre-question.
Okay.
Question 2B is, how would one succeed at woo-woo therapy?
Well, that's a really good question because, I'm really good at what I do and I make it look very easy. And when you go into the woo-woo world for healing, I do think it's important to have some sort of background in helping people before you jump into the woo-woo-ness, right? And healing. So I'm a master educator. I was an educator for 15 years, and then after the pandemic, I got licensed in NLP, got really into my Buddhism and then I have my life experience, right? But 15 years in education, I've worked with a number of different people. I say all that because I have been with woo-woo healers and I've left the room feeling worse about myself and not better. And so, when you go to the somatic healing or the Reiki or whatever energy healing, I went to one who was so off base, so awful that I felt disoriented and ugly for about a week. And that is not a healer, And so I do think it's really important if you want to go into tarot reading, and I'd love to teach a class on it, how to deliver harsh truths with kindness, but also tools on how to deal with it, right? To give people hope. If people leave your session and they don't leave with hope, then you're doing something wrong.
So does hope come? So it sounds like success is
When somebody has clarity, but they also leave with hope.
yeah, which is I think of it as like revelation and awareness mapped to some kind of direction,
Right.
some kind of path forward, some illumination.
Right. And so I went to a healer and she said that, that that I wasn't really a nice person. I just pretended to be.
Oh my goodness, Linda, get out of here.
I know. And then that my husband was controlling and that we were having bad sex and that I was blocked. My intuition was blocked, that I had a demon inside of me, that she removed him. I know. I was like, and then I paid her $150.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And so, everybody who leaves my trailer leaves feeling better. And whether they got something off their chest, whether they had somebody to talk to, whether they left with hope. But if you leave somebody, you have to leave feeling better. Because here's the thing with woo-woo therapy. When you see a regular therapist, you see them on a schedule. So seeing a therapist and feeling kind of icky and like didn't like that session, you can go back and you can get clarification. They take your insurance. It's fine. But woo-woo therapy is way more expensive. Insurance, you're not taking insurance. They're not going to see you on a weekly basis. So it's a different type of therapy. It's concentrated therapy. You have to get to the root of the problem very, very quickly. You have to offer tools for their anxiety, and you have to be able to give them guidance so that they feel that they are in control and give them hope in one session. Right? Whereas in traditional therapy, you have like years, months to kind of build that relationship with your client. So it's really important that if you're going to be into this woo-woo healing space, that you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
And it sounds like part of that is having a background of healing, which for you comes through a deep awareness and relationship with Buddhism, which is like spirituality. And then NLP, which is kind of some tools for navigating internal thought,
right?
And
exactly,
anchors, and how to kind of,
which has like, and that's Buddhism as well, right? It's like in Buddhism we call it mental formations, right? So, your thoughts aren't real; you're making them up. And so what NLP does is like kind of recognize the neural pathways, that it's like creating these limiting beliefs in yourself, right? And how to break those neural pathways. And so, you know what I mean? Like having that kind of practice under your belt as you're reading tarot cards, I think is really important.
Heck yeah. It gives you more tools in the toolbox.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, success looks like someone that has hope.
Right.
And also somewhat, the hope and awareness, a revelation, and then some opportunity.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Question 3 is, let's see. What are are there any like basic practices that I could invite into my life that are inspired by some of your practices or some of the things that are really important to you, whether they're like morning routines or ways that you,
Okay. So I recommend, there's a number of things that I do. So,
you don't have to give up all your
I'm going to give them all up.
Oh, give them up. Girl.
Yeah. Okay. So I do think it's important. I don't, if you are an anxious person, you have a lot of negative thoughts, I think it's important to dump that into a journal, right?
That's morning pages.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know, but I think just like
journaling or
just thought. I call it thought dump. Just like the negative intrusive thought, not even thinking about it, like all these ugly thoughts, right?
Okay. So the ugly, negative, intrusive thoughts, get those out on paper.
Because, and here's the reason why, like in Buddhism and in NLP, it's all about awareness of those thoughts. And so if I tell you to divide 946 by 4, you could do it in your head, but it's a lot harder. But if you write it down, it's a lot easier, right? So thought dumping that. But here's the other thing. Like if you just dump like negative thoughts and you look through your journal, it's like, oh, I'm a sad person. What I want people to do, I want them to write 3 things down in addition to that, and they're very easy. One is, I am grateful for today.
Gratitude.
The what thing I did right today. And what thing am I looking forward to tomorrow? Yeah. Because those 3 questions can keep you rooted in the present moment and have a positive spin at the end of your like negativity.
So what am I grateful for today? What did I do right?
What did I do right today?
And then what am I looking forward to?
Yeah.
It's kind of like this, first you bring awareness to all this kind of monkey mind.
Right, exactly.
Stuff that could be self-limiting or self-defeating beliefs that are rattling around. And the sooner we are aware of them, then we can say like, gosh, I need this. I know what to turn the volume down on.
Right.
And then you give yourself, what to turn the volume up on, which is gratitude.
Right.
Self-compassion, or like where you're actually crushing it, where you're doing well. And then like optimism. What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What else? This thought dump, is that, what are another?
So another thing that I do pray. And so, it's another gratitude thing, but I say 9 things that I was grateful for in that day.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't think of anything, I'm just like, then I'll say I'm grateful that my card started, because I'm actually grateful that it did.
Heck yeah.
You know what I mean? So 9 things I'm grateful for, 6 things that I want for tomorrow or in the near future. 3 prayers for people.
Yeah.
And then just like 1, big picture, like desire, and I do that every night.
It's kind of like, bring in gratitude,
but not being afraid to ask what you want, is when you like really say it out loud, it comes true.
That's something about telling the universe so it can conspire with you.
Yeah.
Whether you think it's conscious manifestation, whether you think it's whatever.
I guarantee you, if you start doing it out loud, you will find that it works.
Well, you start moving towards it because it binds, I would imagine, with your actions.
Yeah.
Like, there's that saying, I don't know how, it's like what you think becomes what you say becomes what you do, what you do becomes your behavior or habits, what your habits become your character, all that becomes your,
Yeah, I have actually a worksheet about that, because you believe in vibrations and all of that. There is a vibration chart.
You just said that a certain way.
Yeah. Because
you don't believe in vibrations.
I do believe in vibrations.
Why'd you say it like that?
Well, I say it like that because I understand how goofy it sounds. You know what I mean? Like
vibrations.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I get. Yeah, I mean, it's, sometimes our little woo-woo world gets a little goofy.
I'll tell you this, I struggle with my woo-woo side.
Yeah.
I'll like swing from being really woo-woo, I got the Palo Santo, to being like, that's just a whole bunch of just baloney.
Yeah. And so that's, and I think it's kind of funny. I think it's kind of fun to do it. You know what I mean? And I'm not taking my woo-ness
too seriously. Yeah, like Thich Nhat Hanh said.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't take it too seriously.
Like it's not. It doesn't have to be that serious.
Yeah, tell me about it. What about vibration?
Well, yeah, okay. So if you look at this vibration chart, shame and guilt are the lowest vibration, and so I have some of my clients like they're intrusive thoughts, and so one would be like, I'll just do an easy one. Like, no one's ever going to love me, like
classic.
Right. Classic. So if you think this, then you believe that nobody's going to love you. If you believe this, your action is going to act like you're going to not give a shit. Right. And then if you're acting like you don't give a shit, like, how are you feeling? You're feeling kind of like lonely and then like
apathetic, maybe not engaged and not participating in life.
And then if you look on the vibration score, you'll see that is like very contracting vibration, and that you're not going to attract the thing that you say you want because you're
not acting in a way that invites it into your life.
Yeah, your thoughts become your beliefs and actions or whatever, and then you're not going to manifest what you want. So So how do you change that, right? You challenge that thought, oh, nobody loves me, right? But that's a very untrue statement. Not only is it intrusive, but it's also wrong, right? And so what would be a better way of saying that? It still has to be true, because not everybody loves you. You know what I mean? It can't be super positive and optimistic to where you don't even believe it, because then you're not really going to vibrate, right, the way you want to. So it might be like, um, some people love me and some people don't. And I feel in love because I don't have a partner in my life.
Yeah.
Right. So if you think that, then your belief is, well, I just haven't found the right person. Right. And if you believe that, then your action is maybe a little bit like, I need to find the right person. So it's more action oriented. So just by simply saying, like, just changing it to where it's more true, doesn't have to be super positive, but like, not everybody loves me and I'm feeling like this because I haven't found the right person, can raise your vibration, and because it raises
that
your
vibration.
action. Yeah. It raises your action.
Raises your action, changes your actions, and aligns it towards what you want more of.
Right. Which is true.
As opposed to just like
right.
accepting or like
Yeah.
living in this world of self-defeating and self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah. Because your brain is lying to you.
Yeah. I thought of, when you said that question, I thought of Byron Katie.
Mm-hmm.
I would Byron Katie that. You know who Byron Katie is? She has this loving what is.
Mm-hmm.
She has, her structure is ask for, judge your neighbor, write it down, ask 4 questions and turn it around. And what she would do is she would say like, so this judgment is like, no one loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And you would say like, is that true? The first question is like, is that true?
Right.
And then you're like, okay, is that true that no one loves me?
No.
And then the next question is like, is it really true?
Mm-hmm.
Like, go deeper in that. Is that true? No one really loves you?
Mm-hmm.
And what you end up getting to, the turnaround is like, I don't love me right now.
Right.
Or I don't love anybody right now. You do these different variations on it.
Yeah.
What you realize is it's my frame. Right. It's the way I'm viewing the world. It's my emotions. It's all these other things, but it's not really that no one loves me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I have power. I've got agency.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I love about NLP and I love about these different frameworks. It's ways to impact your thoughts and impact the way that you're showing up in the world.
Right. And I think that a lot of people, when they go to talk therapy, they get kind of tired of like, yeah, I get it. It's my parents. I get it. Like,
Totally parents.
Right.
That's the answer to all of them.
Yeah, I get it. But they're like, what do I do with that? I get that I'm traumatized. What do I do with that? And so I do think that some of these, like tarot or NLP, can move you in a direction where you have, like you said, agency, where you're not the victim, and then that you're moving forward. And that's what we want. We want to heal.
Yeah. Totally. So question number 4 is, so when you're doing it, you've learned how to fail at it. We've got some what it looks like to succeed, and then some different practices, the thought dumping and the prayer, and some idea around tuning vibrations.
Right. Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
Little thing.
Yeah.
And then so what is the fruit of all this tree when you nurture your tree like this, when you nurture your life like this?
You're watering the good seeds. You're watering the seeds that you want, And so if you want to go back, back to woo woo and full moon, harvest moon, new moon, and all of that.
Yeah.
The new moon is all about, I think, the time to think about what seeds that you want to water in that cycle. And then the full moon is kind of assessing, did you, when you watered this thing that you wanted to water, what did you need to plume in order to, like, what came out of it? If it's something that you didn't like, what do you need to prune? Right. So I think what comes out of all of this is, one, living in the present moment, which is very, very important if you want to be content. And the other part of it is, just acceptance. It's a wonderful thing to be just acceptance of who you are, loving who you are. And, I think I get a lot. It's funny. I get a lot of people who do the work and they're like, when am I going to be okay? And I'm like, never, like,
and always.
And always. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all about managing your emotions so that you don't spin out of control. It's about, being happy with who you are, being happy with who you're with, because life is short. And so it's just really important to, be in the present moment, be happy.
Yeah. Be here now.
Yeah.
I get that. And then some level of radical self-acceptance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some level of, radical self-compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And that all.
There's nothing worse than hating yourself. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Being your own worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
One little tool that I remember from dialectical behavioral therapy, and it's probably used in a bunch of different things, is this. What do you think what kind of advice would your best friend give you right now about something?
Mm-hmm.
And it's this like invitation to get yourself on your side.
Right. Yeah.
Because your best friend's not going to say, "Oh, your dog poop and you should just pack it up because you stink and you're ugly and
Yeah.
your feet smell."
Yeah.
They're not going to say that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
They're going to motivate and support you and because you know what good friendship is like.
Right.
So why not apply that to why don't you be your best friend?
Right. Right. We don't know. Like, it's uncomfortable. It's so much easier, and radical acceptance is hard, for a lot of people.
Dude, yeah. Yeah. Carl Rogers called it unconditional positive regard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was groundbreaking when he started, and I guess other people were doing it around that time, this human potential movement.
Yeah.
The idea that, you accept behaviors, you love the person, and you accept the person, and you don't make their behaviors equal to how much you can care about them and have compassion and empathy for them.
Right.
And when we cycle that back on ourselves, have compassion and empathy for ourselves.
Yeah.
That's watering that seed, like you were saying in the new moon.
Mm-hmm. And, and seed, watership, and all of that. And I mean, it's a very Buddhist concept too. What seeds are you watering? What seeds do you want to water? What seeds do you want to, what plant? And once it's watered, what plant do you want to nourish? Yeah, I wanted to say something about what you just said, and I kind of forgot.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
We got this.
Yeah.
What I thought about with do you want to take some breaths and see if it comes back in a breath?
No, it's okay.
What I thought about this water and seeds, I automatically thought of this. You know that saying about the two wolves inside of us? Yeah. One is greed and one is anger, and the other one's love, and the one is compassion, and they're fighting a battle to the death.
Yeah.
And then the last question is like, well, which one wins?
Yeah.
And the answer is like, which one do you feed?
Right.
And I just thought, man, shouldn't we be feeding both of these dudes?
Well,
shouldn't we have balance?
Yes, absolutely. So, anger and guilt and shame are useless emotions only if you don't do anything about it. So, there is a place for anger
and sadness
and guilt and shame. If it moves you, right? But if you sit in it, it does you no good.
Yeah. Shame, I think, is a healthy tool for,
motivation.
And for socialization. There's things I do socially that I should feel some shame about and then reflect on my behavior and then come back into the group with new behavioral change. And that's self-directed.
Right.
That's intuition.
Right. And so I'll give you an example of where guilt doesn't work. And it's people who believe they're empathetic, right? Oh, like what's happening in Gaza. And a lot of people, including myself, we go and or other catastrophes that are happening where you feel completely small and useless. And, then you see the homeless camps and you feel small and useless and it weighs on you. And it should, but if all you feel is small and useless and guilt and shame, and there's nothing that you're doing about it, then it's a useless emotion. Then it's not doing anything. It's just making your day worse, right? It's keeping you out of the present moment because you have a lot of privilege, right? I do believe that if you really feel that angry about some of these issues, then you have to do something. And if you don't do anything, that's fine. It really is. But don't waste your energy feeling guilt about it. You know what I mean? Because your guilt is not helping the Palestinians. Your guilt is not helping
homeless camp.
the homeless camp.
You know, I might say this a bunch. It reminds me of this idea. If there's something that's tormenting you, ask yourself 2 questions. Can you do anything about it? If the answer is yes, do it. If the answer is no, don't worry about it.
And if the answer is like, I wish I could, then still, but I don't have the time, then that is a can't.
Well, yeah, that's a can't. It's like, can I do anything about it?
Yeah.
And then what's the second question but both of them lead to like, don't worry about it. Can I do anything about it now? It's like, what are we worrying about? What are we focusing our energy and attention on?
I tell people all the time, your guilt does not make you a better person.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. And I'm not saying go in the world of like, I can't do anything about it, be callous about it. I'm just saying that your guilt does not make you a better person.
I'll get a 6-pack of water and take it to the homeless camp, or write a petition to our local government about Gaza.
Exactly.
Do something to release, because that makes the energy flow through you.
Exactly. Because then you feel trapped. You know what I mean? And then, if you ever see a caged animal, when you feel like you can't do anything, you feel trapped. If you look at a caged animal in a cage and it doesn't, it gets mean or it gets scared, and you have that energy live in your body, you have to release it,
Yeah.
So, and I go through these all the time with myself. Like obviously I'm not perfect, I have these battles and this inner dialogue, but I do remind myself, like, your guilt is not helping this person.
Yeah. Your guilt's not helping this person.
Yeah.
Question 5. So how do you come to this place in your life? And we're going to get to a deeper dive in the second half, but what is this? What do you get out of this besides the financial part of the exchange of energy? Like, how does this reward you, and how does this?
Well, I mean, I love helping people. And so, like I said, I was a high school teacher. I taught U.S. history and government, and helped run an internship with high school kids and the city of Austin. I really just enjoy like working with young people, and I really enjoy, the reason why I went into teaching is because I grew up in a really poor neighborhood here in Austin. And I saw a lot of my friends fall through the cracks because they got into gangs or whatever. And they just didn't receive the opportunities. I got lucky. And there was just a lot of kids who should have gone further because they were smarter than me. And I just wanted to help, those kids. So I taught at, Aikens High School. I taught at schools that look like my neighborhood, and I really enjoyed working with those kids, teaching them that the world is bigger than your block, and like to reach further, go further, And but then the pandemic happened, and all the things that are wrong with education are all the things that are wrong with education. But then when the pandemic happened, instead of getting creative, which was a lost opportunity, we doubled down on the shit that was not working. We just doubled down on it. Ugh. And I was just like, I cannot do this and then just all the crap around it. I just like, I can't do this anymore. And so during the pandemic, while we were teaching students online, I was also taking classes with, the INLP Institute, getting my certification, because I wanted to help people, but I didn't want to go, I'm 50, and I didn't want to go back to school and spend all that time and money to get a therapy license. And so this was a kind of a no barrier way of, I'm a life coach, and to help people. But I hated the term life coach and never got comfortable with that. How to live your life better. Never met a life coach I actually liked. So, that I trusted. They just seemed a little like goofy to me. And so I never was comfortable with that. I was doing tarot on the side to supplement my income as I was acquiring clients for my NLP practice, which is called Good Thoughts NLP.
Good Thoughts NLP.
Yeah. Yeah. And I still have that practice, and I'm listed under psychology today. But anyway, yeah, I started to find that I really enjoyed reading tarot. I enjoyed the concentration of it, like getting to the root of the matter so much quicker than traditional talk therapy. Yeah. So
helping people.
Yeah. I mean,
showing them something different.
Yes. Yeah, trying to get people, I think, my belief system, because I started off as a young person wanting to change the world. And I realized that the only way I really can do that is by teaching people how to be mindful and self-aware and comfortable in their bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's 5 questions. Phil Phails 5 questions. You did it, Linda.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a talker.
No, what do you mean, sorry, you're a talker?
Well, I mean, you know.
This is about talking.
That's true. Yeah.
I need talkers. You're doing great.
Yeah.